What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. And a few weeks ago, I did a review for The Last of Us for the PlayStation 4. Now, I know there have been a lot of reviews about that game, so I kept it short and sweet. And I'm going to do the same for this game. This game is one that I had not played. My cousin lent it to me. I had to just play it because I really want to see what all the controversy was about with this game. And I can understand some of the controversy, with this. But overall, I think it's a pretty darn good game that was able to change my mind about a few things throughout the journey of this particular game, and that is The Last of Us Part 2. Now, right off the bat, this game, you know that there are differences within our main characters. Ellie is a lot more aggressive in this game, and you see that there's definitely confrontational things between her and Joel. There's definitely some animosity. There's, obviously Ellie, learns throughout the progression of the game, exactly what takes place at the end of The Last of Us Part 1, with Joel, taking out the Fireflies, trying to protect his basically adopted daughter that he has taken in now. And, she knows, and she's still kind of holding that against him. She could have been the savior for her, for humanity possibly. But, Joel, having lost his daughter in the beginning of the first game, decided he wanted to, he didn't want to lose this adopted daughter in Ellie. So that's basically, this game starts off, a few years have gone on now, and they've settled into the area of Jackson where, they're basically, this new civilization is starting there, this new community basically. But still, there are other communities out there and people who are not the friendliest, to say the least. And there's a lot of aggressive people that are still out in this world. Now, there's a lot to cover in this game. I'm not going to go into everything, just because I know this game came out a while ago and many people have already played this, and like I said, there's been a lot of reviews. But overall, this game obviously introduces the character of Abby. And, no spoiler. I'm just going to throw spoilers out there because there's really no way I can get around it without there being spoilers. Like I said, it's been out for a while now. Anyway, with her killing Joel, I was a big fan of the Joel character in the first game. The interaction between him and Ellie in that first game, incredible. It's an incredible game. It's an incredible experience. And, with Abby killing Joel, pretty early in the game, you still see flashbacks, with Joel later, throughout the game. And this is a long game. This is a lot longer than the first game. I'd say it's a good, at least, if not double in length, it's got to be a little even. It's got to be pretty darn close time-wise, because it just felt like it was never going to end, this game. Just, every time you feel like you're getting there, more happens. But you have to take on playing the character of Abby. And right off the bat, I was like, I didn't like the character because of, obviously, what she did to Joel. And I was just having a lot of issues of, why do I have to play as this character? I'm like, I don't like her. I don't want to play as her. She just killed one of my favorite characters. And now I have to go and take on, controlling her and where she's going to go in this environment. I wasn't really the biggest fan at the beginning of this game. Now, later on down the line, find, Abby is basically seeking this group known as the Wolves, have come with her to find Joel. Her father was a Firefly. He was the surgeon that was going to operate on Ellie in the first game that Joel killed. So she is out seeking revenge. So when you find that out and you learn throughout the game of everything that happening, you understand why, in a way, why she's seeking revenge. Why she's going after the man who killed, her father. There's a lot. This game is vengeance. That's what it is. It's about revenge. This whole game, and it's brutality at its most within this game, especially on the part of Ellie. But as far as the Abby character goes, this was a character I didn't think I'd be able to get on board with. But her character, going from just hating this character at the beginning of the game to progressing and actually almost her overtaking Ellie in who was your favorite within the game. There were times, especially towards the end of this game, with a confrontation, because again, you play as Ellie, you play as, as Abby, because as Ellie, you're tracking Abby down, trying to find out where she is, and killing all the people who are with her along the way that helped in killing Joel. And, then again, you take on, playing Abby. And, you see the things that she has done. And, how she has changed as a character throughout the game, as she winds up helping some people along the way. Something that she probably wouldn't have done, earlier on. Characters who were not a part of her, this group this community that she was a part of. So her character definitely grows and changes. And whereas Ellie gets darker, where she's like kind of like lighthearted, basically in the first game, she gets dark in this game, and gets to a really dark spot. Where Abby, as being like this, like really brutal and a really like a badass, she really lightens up in certain aspects of the game, especially when you start getting towards the end of the game. With her and the character she is joined with, along, when you have both of them in, later on, because of how Ellie would be with Joel, you most of the times in these games, you're not really alone. You have at least one other character, computer played character, with you, and that's exactly what happens with Abby later on down the, in the game. And you see where there's a little bit of joking going on and things like that. So she definitely, her character becomes a little bit more on the lighter side. But when it gets down to the very end, and again, I'm not going to make this video too much longer, but when it gets down to the end and you finally have, Ellie tracks down Abby, who has been captured. And Abby, who is just, she's jacked. Like, she is a jacked up character, because when you see flashbacks earlier on, she wasn't like this built up character. But you can see that she definitely, put on the muscle, put on, the weight, trying to, track down the killer. She really went into hard training going after Joel. But you see that she's kind of like withered down now at the end of the game. That she's been captured. She's strung up to, this post and everything. And when you see her, Ellie cuts her down because she wants to have that vengeance. She doesn't want anybody else to kill Abby. This is her, revenge for losing Joel. But things change. I'm not going to go into the exact, very, very end details of the game. But with this particular, this battle between the two of them, you see that, I couldn't help but be on Abby's side. Like, you're playing as Ellie, but I was kind of behind Abby's character, just because of what road Ellie was going down in the game. I was kind of like more on the side of Abby. So I went from, this was an interesting game that I went from hating this one particular character with a passion to actually liking this character. Dare I say, loving this character. She was great, and you understood why she was doing, you kind of understand why she did the things that she did. And I'm going to say that even though this is a longer game, there's a lot that goes into this game. A lot of emotion in this game. A lot of twists and turns. To me, I still like the first game the best. Just because of the whole interaction between Joel and Ellie. I absolutely do. But this game, I went from kind of like, I'm not really sure. Kind of like, middle of the road for me. This game definitely by the end, took me up to a higher level. And I gotta say thank you before I was running into a situation in the game, later in the game, and people who have played it, will understand. I got into the hospital and had to fight the Rat King. And I was having the hardest time doing this. And wouldn't you know that after dying multiple times, my 10-year-old daughter, who coincidentally is named Abby, went and actually helped me, and she was able to take out the Rat King within like 5 or 6 tries. A lot better than good old Dad was doing. So I had to thank her for that one, because we were freaking out when she did it. I was absolutely over the moon, because that was the absolute hardest part of the game for me, was getting past the Rat King, but she was able to help me out. So thank you very much. I appreciate it, Abby. So yeah, that was my little, my review for The Last of Us Part 2. It definitely, I don't think it's as bad as what people who knock it, they really knock it. But people who like it, they really like it. And I think it's not, like I said, not as good as the first game for me personally, but I still think it's a pretty freaking solid game overall. And it's also, like I said, it's a long game. So be prepared to put some time into this one. So like, subscribe, and comment if you get the chance, and I will catch you in another episode. Take care.